So before we get in this video, if you guys want to check out my feature film Pesadilla, you can check it out on Amazon. You can also buy the physical copy, which I think is so cool. If you guys want to check out my link tree down below, you can also check out my short films. You can check out my socials. Always looking to connect with other people, other content creators, other filmmakers. And let's talk about Baby Girl. This was one of my most anticipated films of the year. I was so excited to see this. I ended up finding a showing that was actually like in my town, which really surprised me because I thought I was gonna have to drive a little bit to go see it. So whenever I woke up this morning and I was like, oh great, I can drive like 2 minutes to watch it, I was very pleased. A high-powered CEO puts her career and family on the line when she begins a torrid affair with a much younger intern. The film stars Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson. It also is directed by, and I hope I'm saying this right, Helena Rajin. She also did Bodies, 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 which I was not the biggest fan of. I really didn't care too much for that film. I feel comfortable saying that because I love Baby Girl a lot. So if I can, criticize something and then give praise to something else, this would definitely be the time to do it because Baby Girl is one of my favorite films of the year. I mean, it cracked my top 5. I think that the film is, for one, it's spicy. It's really, really spicy. I was in the theater with there were two women behind me. There was an older woman next to me, and then there was another woman in front of me. And it was kind of just like this little circle of us just watching the spiciest film of the year. And there's going to be comparisons to Eyes Wide Shut, and I think specifically because Nicole Kidman is in it. Also, it is sort of a Christmas movie that involves spicy stuff. Kind of like Eyes Wide Shut. Also, Antonio Banderas is in this film, which I must be completely blind, because when I saw him, I was like, holy crap, which I love him. If you're not familiar with who Antonio Banderas is, I mean, you've probably seen him in stuff, especially if you're a fan of like Almodovar. I mean, he's been in a few of his films, I think. Yeah, he was in The Skin I Live In, of course, Pain and Glory, Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, okay. Yeah, so the guy's been around the block. Also Desperado, such. And the other film that you'll probably hear it compared to is Michael Haneke's The Piano Teacher, which actually the comparisons to that film really did get me excited because The Piano Teacher is one of my favorite films ever made. Michael Haneke, one of my favorite directors. So to get a film like this, especially kind of on this scale, I was very much so intrigued. But the thing is, yes, there are comparisons to be made to Eyes Wide Shut and The Piano Teacher when it comes to Baby Girl, but Baby Girl is definitely more tame than The Piano Teacher. I do think from a visual standpoint, Eyes Wide Shut is probably more tame than Baby Girl, or just because maybe even just with exposition, but The Piano Teacher definitely a lot more. I guess you could say detailed in a not so subtle way. But Baby Girl presents this very interesting sort of, it is an affair. I mean, of course, Nicole Kidman, she is having an affair on her husband with her intern, but you're not really necessarily rooting for these people, but at the same time, it's very apparent why Nicole Kidman is doing this. I mean, from the beginning of the film, which I don't want to spoil, you sort of find out that she's not satisfied in her marriage. She's not really satisfied with her life. I guess she is pretty satisfied with her work. So whenever Harris Dickinson, Samuel comes into play, their relationship, Nicole Kidman, Harris Dickinson, they have this very unique kind of relationship where they're both very toxic for each other. Like, they're extremely toxic for each other, and there's not really one moment with them where you're looking at them like, hey, this is a good idea. No, there's just this looming consequence just out there that you're just waiting to happen because they're both nuts. I mean, they're both nuts. It takes a second for the film to get started, but when it does, it does. She is, dare I say, she might be my favorite performance of the year. I know Mickey Madison, that's from Anora. I know that's the big one right now, and I love her performance. It might be better than Nicole Kidman, but fresh off of Baby Girl, I was just so impressed with Nicole Kidman's performance. Harris Dickinson, he has stuff to play with, but he's very much so there to sort of get the arousal out of Nicole Kidman. I feel like he is there to get not necessarily the performance out of Nicole Kidman, but definitely the right reactions, because without his character, Nicole Kidman would not be, performing the way that she performs, just because when he's not around, she's a very normal person. She's very normal. She's very business work oriented. But then whenever her and Samuel, Rami and Samuel get together, things get really twisted, and I don't want to say more. If you are looking for an erotic thriller, I don't skip out on Babygirl. I think that I would love to see more films like these come out. I don't know, that's probably just a bias, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I love a good romantic thriller. Something about it just gets my bones. Overall, what I'm saying is just don't skip out on Babygirl. It is one of my favorite movie experiences of the year. You might like it, you might not. If you're not a fan of erotic thrillers, if you're not a fan of things that get extremely spicy, you might not care much about this film, but I thought it was great. It was just a nice, fresh... It was a fresh film. I'm just going to call it a fresh film because I liked it. And I love it whenever a director, I don't necessarily connect with their work before, but then they make something that really does get me excited about what their next project could be. And yeah, definitely that is the case with this film, because this film, like I said, it was a pleasant surprise. I was not sure what I was going to think of it at first. Then I heard the comparisons to other films that I really, really love. So I was on board, and I don't know, maybe you might be too. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are having a Merry Christmas. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Check out my link tree. Check out my link tree down below, and I'll see you guys next time.